All right, here we go. It's preparing to live stream the meeting.
I'm impressed you can do all this.
it's it's pretty self-explanatory. Once you start it, you have to just go into your Zoom settings to get it going. So I think we're going now. We are loading. There we go. All right. Thank you. Sorry, I guess there was a lag. So we started already before I realized. Good morning. I'm Higher Vibrations, and so are you. I'm joined here today by Elsa Dillon. Elsa is an amazing person on this journey that I've really connected with in a lot of ways. And in fact, we had a conversation before in this kind of way. And I'm just so honored to join Elsa again. In fact, today, this moment right now is my 230th video that we've produced. So having Elsa on this with me doing it together is really awesome. So thank you for joining, Elsa.
Wow, 230. That's huge. Thanks for having me again. Uh, I just, I have to talk to Pamela. I have to talk to Pamela. Any chance we get together, it's a blessing, really. I
Awesome.
get
Thank you.
we get so much out of it because really, like so many people say, you're doing it for yourselves. You're doing it for yourself. So I'm being selfish. I'm doing selfish, which I love because it's selfish is a soul fish. So I'm doing this for selfish reasons, I guess, because I like to connect. My water ions, my I ams when I meet Pamela
Right.
get elevated, and that's a good feeling. And right now, anything that feels good is where I'm leading to.
Yeah,
The feeling bad is exhausting. Oh
it
my
is.
gosh.
It is. It takes too much out of us. It's not even
Oh,
worth it,
yeah.
you know. And that's what's really cool. That's like amazing and awesome how, everything's set the way it's supposed to be kind of a thing though. Like the vast majority of the healing that I do, honestly, is for that same idea, the selfish reasons of I don't want to be an energy like that, and so I change the energy and when the energy comes to me from an individual, healing is then imparted upon them as well, and so I think a lot of what we've been conditioned to do and believe growing up, and whatever background you have, a lot of us are taught that if it doesn't hurt a lot, then it isn't service, as an example, and that you need to give too much of yourself over to cause an impact. When you really think about it and you're truly following, like you said, what feels better for you, that's what you're supposed to be doing. Like that's your mission, that's not a reward for doing all this service. Doing that is your service,
Yeah.
like whatever play means to you. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. And the kids have it so, and the animals, they just got it so sorted.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I always say to the kids, you make me look stupid. You know that, right? And they're like, uh-huh. Uh-huh. But the fact that I can even just laugh at that and say, I do look stupid. You guys are so smart. Or that, to an animal even, you guys have got it so sorted out. I don't. I've complicated it. And I didn't mean to complicate it. It's just what we were taught.
Right.
Yeah, that's all. It was just what we were taught. So now you got to uncomplicate it.
Right. And not even realizing what you were doing the whole time until you one day stop doing it for some reason.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
usually it's the last straw that breaks the camel's back concept, like I still say a lot of these archaic things. Elsa is so goblin energy that it's so great to when I say certain words and I can feel her saying, that might not be the best choice of word. And it's kind of
Ah!
funny because it really helps me to go to notice my word a little bit more, and where certain things come from. For instance, I used to always use the term rule of thumb, and then for some random reason I decided to look up where that came from, and that used to be the measure. So men were allowed to beat their wives with a stick as long as this was no longer thicker than their thumb. And it was such a common practice that the rule of thumb became a reference to something that everybody knows about.
Wow.
Isn't that? And so all of these things that we just speak, spell, we're casting a spell in that word that we're spelling out, and creating a vibration, keeping the momentum of a vibration that perhaps this area and this planet no longer harmonizes with.
Wow. So the other thing that always comes up with you is the dovetailing. And the dovetailing is speeding up and speeding up. And I know I want to talk to you about this because you brought up rule of thumb. And I just had another gentleman that I've been speaking with a lot called Catman, and he's just like had his thumb cut like this. And I was speaking to him about rule of thumb. So we're talking now 2 different continents, and the information's going back and forth, and now you're bringing it up again. And yes, to normal people it's synchronicity, it's just coincidence. No, this is not. This is all of us tapping into each other. And so we're getting faster than Google.
Yeah, right. We are.
Because all of our electrics, because I'm sure I saw you post just recently that you were having electrics with the computer or something. So I'm going, oh, now, so last time I spoke to Pamela, it was all the water was coming through your apartment.
Yeah.
And now it's gone to electrics, and then it goes back to water and electrics. And it's like, it has seriously been rattled.
Yeah. Yeah. That's actually why I'm on this side of the room. This is where the power outlet works on this wall. I used to be over there.
Is the power affected from the water? Is this a issue from the water?
They haven't been able to figure it out completely, honestly. And like I've had like higher and higher level electricians come in to try to figure it out. And so they're coming back again in a week to try to continue to figure it out. What's interesting though, and I know that I did that. I know that I did that. It was very obvious. I was in meditation, and it was just before the beginning of the solar eclipse. Though I couldn't see it from my side of the world, I knew when it was about to happen. So I was in meditation for that time, and I went into meditation for a brief moment, not very long, and then all of a sudden I woke up, or I came out of it, because I had the light that was next to me had gone out. I thought the light bulb had burned out. Anyway, I had done it is I went into meditation for a brief time, and then all of a sudden the power was gone. And then we've had 3 electrician companies come in trying to figure out what the problem is. It's only the side of the room where I was sitting. I was sitting over there. Yeah.
Oh, this is so cool. I mean, it's not cool for you. It's a
That's
situation.
Fine. People get to see my dirty, it's not dirty. This is my child's museum of art, and the door and stuff. Usually it's just, this is my life, and I really don't mind if anyone sees it. It's just I feel like I need to present a cleaner space. It's perfect in alignment the way it's supposed to, though. The electricity also has taken on a different form for a lot of individuals. We're having a very large group of people connecting with me and talking about actually feeling like they're being electrocuted, without being near to, a unknown source of electricity. They're not sticking their finger in an outlet, for example, and having this sensation, hey, it's 111, having this sensation of being electrocuted. And for me, it feels like a buzzy on the skin. It's tickly, and it doesn't feel though it's noticed in my hair. I've noticed the consciousness of our hair more and more throughout all over our body. There's consciousness in each individual hair, and it answers to this electricity too. So it's it's really crazy to watch. I'll just be no one else. It'll be me and my kiddo, and the 2 of us have our hair up, and no one else seems to be. And then we're shocking everything that we're touching, electricity, static electricity kind of stuff. And I don't know, it feels kind of And though the end of the story of that movie Powder is that he then becomes electricity and like disappears, it feels a lot like that movie Powder. I don't know if you're familiar with that film.
No, no. I'll have to just do a quick look at it just as curiosity. But
Mm.
it's interesting because electricity was one of the reasons that we came across angels and ETs, and it's
Yes.
again, it's the way they connect with us. But I just I love how it's only on that side.
Right.
I keep saying to everyone, you gotta look at it from there. It's entertaining, right? It is. If you look at it instead of looking at it from like that last time we chat, I'm getting wet, but you look at it from, oh, look at them, look what they're
Yeah.
going through now. So it's like it takes the heaviness off it.
Yeah.
It brings the lightness back to it. So now, where you don't have light, you're bringing a different type of
Right.
light energy to it. It's I just go, oh, that's so cool. That's
Yeah.
great. And being able to maneuver around it. And I guess that's one of the big things at the moment is how to maneuver through all the dissolving or melting of everything.
Hmm. Right.
It's yeah, because you kind of have to sidestep. You go this way, and you go, okay, now that thing's not working anymore because that's got to end. So okay, now I've got to sidestep this way.
Right.
And if you don't sidestep a little bit faster or too fast, that hurts. So
Right.
you just got to keep finding that sweet spot.
Right. The balance. And it's
Yeah.
just, yeah, you're just, it's like walking on a flotation device and on the water is what we're doing. Basically, we're like walking, and like as we take each step, we noticing that you need to counterbalance, to balance yourself back to the, it's this balance thing is really cool. I got to say, like the balance, everything about balance that's coming out right now, involving electricity specifically. Electricity is luminous, and like you were saying, it's delivering light in a different way, and it's just really fascinating because electricity and balance always seem to be together when I think of the topic. And there's something more to that I don't fully understand and comprehend yet. I do know that electricity, a lot of the electricity that many of us are feeling and noticing and sensing within our form, it's not like we're getting it from the outside. That's the point too, is that so all of this DNA is coming out of dormancy, and we're as a result having a variety of ascension symptoms. And not always do we know which ones are ascension symptoms and which are something that we've accepted over the years to be something else, like some type of other illness or disorder or something. However, if you go deep enough into the source of where that symptom is happening, we can find out there's an emotional source that needs to be looked at and healed. And as this DNA comes out of its dormancy, some of it is electric. Like it just is. Like it's like these atoms or these pieces, these parts of us that are electric, as if this is something that's been happening for about a year now, is that when my phone is plugged in, it doesn't happen when it's not plugged in yet. So I still need the assistance of the energy source coming from the plugged in outlet in the wall. But I'll touch my phone while it's charging. You can see that it says like, let's come up with a number. It says 19%. And I'll touch it. It'll jump up to like 24%. Like it doesn't fully charge, but you could see an immediate, and then I've played with this a bunch of times, and then you'll do like the don't touch it thing and just watch it. And it takes, about a minute to get 1%. Each percent takes about a full 30 to 60 seconds. And so for it to jump like that, and it's just kind of fun
Yeah.
that, we now are talking about paying the electricity company in order to have this energy. And we've all known about Tesla and all that stuff. The real Tesla, the man that had the free electricity. And now we're finding out that it's inside our own bodies. Like I can see us charging and like we need light. So we're holding a light bulb. But the other part of that, I'm sorry, I'm going on this tangent. The other part of that is that when you're in your fullest self, there's a light that comes off of you that you can see everything in the dark. Like that's what we've been doing for years now. It's like, I remember when I was little, it was a game. You'd close your eyes and walk around the house and at night, specifically, it works better at night for some reason when I was practicing. And you could see the outline of all objects, even newly introduced ones. This isn't because we're just familiar with the arrangement of the furniture in the room. And to just play with that, allow yourself, you're going to the gym for that muscle. It's just a spiritual muscle. And that each phase of this experience has been a different color theme. Right now, we're spending more time in the blue and also in the indigo color. So when I close my eyes and have the glow of my aura, of the crown chakra light that just looks like someone opened a window behind your head. The theme of the color is now at this other place. And I'm saying this and telling you this long story because this has been evidence for where we are as a collective. The lowest chakra, and not a bad thing, though, red was the first experience that I was seeing the most as a child. And it's moved up into a higher and higher chakral experience. And I was in interaction with my higher self a little while ago. And I was shown that when you allow yourself to use the color filter of a specific number of chakra, that will help you to reach that specific dimensional frequency space. So if you want to go to 4D, then you go to your heart, and so you go to green, and then 5D is the throat chakra, and so on and so on and so on. And so that's something that I've used a little bit, and it really helps. And so I completely deviated from what you had started talking about. Sorry about that.
No, well, this is cool because the things you're talking about, people go, oh, that happened to me.
Right.
That happened to me. So that the seeing in the dark's a really a good one, because that was one thing that we had to really get used to, shifting from the city to the country. And for the first few weeks of living here in the country, because it was so dark, we'd get up to go to the bathroom, and all of us had wall incision marks in our heads from walking into walls, like
Right.
because we were used to being with lights at night. And so our eyes took, a good few months to actually adjust to the darkness. But once you adjust to the darkness, so maybe it's just the pain of each wall, you really remember where everything is.
Yeah.
So you start to see in the dark.
Yeah.
But you talked about these electrical shocks that people are feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I still get it. I had one yesterday. I call them the sparkies, where they come out. So
Cool.
it's a electric spark, and it's not very big, but it feels like a electric pin shock coming out. I usually get them around here. I have had them on my back before.
Yeah.
I many years ago I used to get them out of the feet, but I haven't had that one. But mainly it's around here. And I was just wondering if anyone else gets that, because it's pain. It's like a little
Yeah.
and it feels like it's coming from the inside out,
Yeah.
not the outside. And I always went, how does that work? What is that came out? Those little bursts. And now that you're saying electrical with others, see, now this is making me go, oh, maybe it's something to do with that.
Yeah. I actually relate exactly to specifically what except I'm having them come out of like here and here as if I had horns, I guess, the spot that's coming out of, as well as like right here. So just at my hairline, like right there. And
Yeah.
what's really interesting is that you can actually see it at night. Like you see the static electricity, the blue quick glow, and it has a pop sound for me. I don't know if it has a sound for you. I have a lot of auditory, a lot of sound stuff and visual stuff. And most things are in communication have to do with color as well. So like my interpretation of reality or what's occurring in front of me is very likely to be different for somebody else, is what I'm saying. And so it doesn't have to be specific. So for me, I see it though. I see the color. I see the blue, like the electricity blue, and I feel it and I hear the pop at the same time if I'm in the dark when it happens.
Wow.
I used to
Yeah,
have them on my back and my neck too, by the way. You said back, like
yeah,
right
back. Right
like at the
here.
center
Yeah,
of
from the
my,
center. Yeah,
yep,
yeah.
yep,
Well, I'm kind of jealous because you get to see them, but I just, I actually almost say ow. That's how it's quite a piece,
yeah,
like a, and oh, like it's enough to make me pause and go, what was that?
yeah,
So that, and then I go, okay, so now what they've done is my oversoul or my body or beings or who, whatever it is, has asked me to pause to
mm,
acknowledge that. So, and now we're talking about it, so we're giving it more acknowledgement.
yeah,
So, who knows where this will go?
right.
Like, how do you know that's not some form of communication with? I don't know. Like, that's what this is. This is why these sharing moments openly in a safe space and being able to go back and forth and do the ping pong game. Um, it evolves and expands, and this is the science because we're actually working it out. There's no monetary involved.
Right. Is that okay? I
Yeah,
forgot to
yeah, yeah.
record.
What's with that? So I'm on Todd Medina and he doesn't record it. Poor guy. I went, oh, he's,
What?
yeah. You jinxed me.
Oh no, you already were on. I forgot. I missed it.
Ah, I felt I was I was in love. I love talking to Todd, so it was a great talk. And he gets to the end and goes, the button.
I had it recording already, but then I didn't want to record our like conversation before we started. So I was like, oh, I'll do it. It says recording when it's not. It's going on YouTube right now and it's claiming it's recording. So I didn't even connect that it's recording
Maybe
to
that's what
YouTube.
happened. Oh, that's what's happened,
I'm
maybe.
sorry. And I
No, no,
cut you
no.
off. You were talking.
No, it's funny because it's like I said, the electrics and all the buttons you have to push.
Yeah, it's the comments, by the way, you got a lot of comments of people saying me too, me too.
Oh, on
So
the
of
electrics?
the electric pings. There's a
Ah,
couple of different people who've mentioned like so Tommy says she got a sharp ping and like you said, coming out, then it's over with. Carmen says that it's happened to him. It started last year. It felt like a finger in an electrical socket.
yeah,
Not as often right now though. It's more mental now. Just there's a lot of Esther mentioned the feet buzzing like electricity passing through them. A lot of people are having this electric experience, and also a very unusual pain in the top of my feet and thighs at the same time. So I noticed the sensation of pressure, and it feels like a release though. When you talk about this pop, it feels ah, like it's
yeah.
it's it's helping. It's a release. It's an assisting thing. It's like popping a zit, I guess. It's not a comfortable experience to be
Mm,
had when you're doing it, and
mm.
but the relief that happens from it, it makes it worth it. And so it just kind of feels like that. Often though, there'll be a lingering. So when we were talking further, I remembered I used to have it behind my knees, like that the back side of my knees, it would come out. Like it was the strangest
Oh,
thing. And then I would notice that that area of my body was sore after, just barely, like a small bruise, but you didn't see a bruise. It just felt tender.
that was my next question is because I always go, okay, is it on a vein? Is it on a part that moves? Because you're saying the back of the knee, but
Mm.
I couldn't find any connection. And then I thought, is it sunset or sunrise or after I've eaten or if I had water or is it when I meditate? And I couldn't find any pattern. The only pattern I have found is right now talking
Huh.
with you guys. That's it. That's the only pattern I have found. So, yeah. Also, this electric thing, especially where it's coming out the face, I haven't had for a while, but I'm just wondering if it's from the comet because you're saying it's electrical and we got water, and then we've had the big boy come past,
Right.
and it's been talking to us, and so maybe it's made all our our ions shift around and the reshuffling, and it gets going. Okay, you have to get out of here. So ping, you're out.
Right.
We're reshuffling. You know, they're feng shuiing inside our body. It's going, you can't go there anymore. You got to go over there. You
Right.
have to go.
And it's kind of like a popping on. So like what it kind of feels like a little bit to me is this is as this is occurring for us, it's like we have things that operate great for us. For instance, an example would be a young person would be given a bicycle with training wheels, and they would ride that bicycle and not really need that much balance ability because those training wheels will help them. And then once they are no longer in need of those training wheels are removed. However, there's always something that replaces. It's always something. It's like another way of saying it. It feels like some of this stuff that we are feeling the popping of is actually the things that were the placeholders before in our DNA are kind of taking back seat now and being like back burner. They're like, okay, and that popping into place of this other thing. I say this because the vast majority of the time when I feel these electric things, it's not a profound overnight kind of experience. It's like a gradual over a couple of days. I can then look back at that moment and say, that was about the time that I started to get this new tool, this new gift, or the amplified version of a gift that I already had. Gift meaning like spiritual things, being able to see, feel, hear, interact in different ways energetically, provable, movable kind of things, and like, and so I think that has a lot to do with it. And I'm going to make reference to the butterfly right now because we just had 7 butterflies born today, and there were 7 of them. And I just thought I should bring that up today because Elsa always understands when I bring up these type of things that are synchronicities, but we don't realize what they are. One of the 7 didn't stay hanging. And so her wings never dried straight and flat. So she has a disability. The wings, once they dry, if they're not flattened out, like they do standing out, it's upside down and waving it out, then they can't fly. And so that butterfly has become our pet. We're going to keep that butterfly in the house for as long as we can, and help it keep going. There's some kind of hidden message in that. And I know that there is. I went to grab earrings and I don't look what I'm going to grab. I just pick them up, and I'm wearing also butterfly earrings today. And so there's something there.
Oh, see, butterfly's been huge. It really has been huge. And butterfly represents what we spoke about before, which was the balance, which is 7 pi and the golden ratio. Gold's been coming up for a lot of people as well. What I love is that the caterpillar who smokes mushrooms in Alice in Wonderland, he's absolute. He's absolute.
Yeah.
And he flies away, and he's a blue Alexandra butterfly. Now kids are like, oh, here we go with the A word again. You and your middle name, Mum. It's actually a family joke now. As soon as they hear the A word, our family scatters. So if I need the house to be quiet, I'll say, I'm going to say the A word. I'll just.
That's funny.
But the
That's right.
absolute is the blue butterfly, and it's the masculine and the feminine and the tantra. But you said this one has a disability, and so you understand that of this butterfly, and now you're going to share space with this butterfly. So this butterfly is going to have, like, I can't wait for what Kiddo has to say over the next few days, because you're going to become great friends.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's possibly they might never open up, but there is also in Alice in Wonderland impossible possible, right?
Yeah.
They open up. There is that possibility too. So I really love that message in Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
what did she says something like, I wake up every morning and imagine 6 impossible things that I'm actually doing. And
Right.
that's us now. That's where
Yeah.
we are now. You know, yeah, everyone's telling, or not everyone anymore, but we this the feeling I'm feeling at the moment is a separation. But I've said this before, I don't feel like I'm separating and everyone's going to get left behind. I feel like we're separating for a bit because it's necessary
Yeah.
for whatever reason, but I feel like they're still coming with us. Like I don't
Yes.
feel it. And I don't feel like it's a race.
Yeah. Yes. Thank
It's
you for
not a
saying that.
race. It's not a race. It's never a race. And the ones who understand all the information right now and are openly sharing about it, um, they're not more anything than these people. It's just that these ones' journey has something else to collect with what they're going through. That's it. There's no right or wrong.
Exactly. Exactly. And
There's
the
no right or wrong.
separation things happen to a lot of people right now. I think that, thank you for bringing this up. This is an important topic for, I think, for a lot of people to hear, because um, I think that a lot of people feel sad or guilty or shame or something about doing that, about allowing themselves to trudge forward, trudge on. And the thing is, and we've all talked about this, and everyone just seems to collectively already know it intuitively, that you can't, it doesn't, we can't effectively board a train with others. You know, they can come and they often will join you on that train. So the train of ascension, you know, it's like we talked about hopping from one train car to the next, you know, as well. And that analogy is very true for what's happening. And like, and in some cases, we're noticing that we're like at a what is it called? A layover, where you have to wait a moment until your next train arrives. And that layover period we just had, I don't know if everyone noticed that, that just kind of felt like all of a sudden we weren't connected anymore. And we just were like, didn't really, there was something, and a lot of people panicked because of this, like the separation feeling came in. And like,
When was that for you? When did you find that happened?
that was a
Just
couple of,
sorry to interrupt.
like, that's okay, like a week or so ago. I can't remember. Honestly, I say a
The
week or so
eclipse.
ago, about a year ago sometimes. So I'm not, I know what day it is because right now I'm looking at my computer, and that's the only reason I know what day it is today. That's just how time works right now for me.
Yeah.
And that moment though is that everybody, we tend to pause and wait for our fellow travelers. Um, it does not mean that when they come, if we have gone by the time that they've come, that they aren't going to continue. It's just that they're not taking the train that we're taking right then
Yeah.
at that
Yeah.
moment, you know. And like the rope analogy, we are all this rope. This is, all of us are this, and some of us are up at the beginning of the rope, and some of us at the end, and some in the middle, and so on. And so um uh depending on where you are on that rope, this rope is continuing to ascend. It's moving, it's not stopping. And so this part of the rope is near to the microphone and talking about the microphone experience. And then over here, we've already seen the microphone, and so we're like, yeah, I know what that was like, we can talk about it, I can show you what I did. And then these people over here going, but I didn't see the microphone, I must not be on this journey, you know. And like, we're all the rope, we're all here, we're all going along. And like you said, it's not a race, there is no hierarchy. It's simply those who came here with the ability to blaze the trail. And in a lot of ways, what we're doing is just like that movie that I can't remember what it's called right now. My daughter watches it all the time. Um, it's about spells and magic and stuff. And this kid has to um, onward. It's called Onward. He has to believe that there is a bridge in front of him when all he can see is this endless pit. And knowing that each time that he steps out, it looks like he's stepping on nothing until he steps on it, you know. And so, and when it's a little different than our experience, though I resonate with that because that's what I've seen for so long, is that when we step, those are those people who happen to be on a different part of the rope. There are people way ahead of me, by the way, too. Don't get me wrong, you know. And those people who step foot out to in belief of this bridge, then all of a sudden that bridge is seen by those on the end of the rope. Now they know it exists by stepping our foot out to it. And no, not literally asking you to hurtle into a ravine, people, though it feels a very similar experience when we just suspend belief and in our reality and allow ourselves to say, maybe daydreaming and imagination and pretending actually do affect my life. And then to act as if it's true and see what happens. That's all you have to do. It's crazy. Awesome.
I love the rope. That's a great way of. So I'm going to share a little story with you because it'll it relates to the rope. So we had at our old farm, we had our horses, and our neighbours said, "Can you look after our horse?" So the fences had been taken down from the flooding, so we just left them down. So then we had to merge the herd, and they had to cross the creek. So when they had to cross the creek, they sniffed the water, and a lot of these horses had never crossed water before like this. So they had to cross it, and they'd sniff it. And so what, like you said, like this boy crossing the bridge, not the lead mare, the second or third in charge goes across first, and they go across to these beautiful green fields full of lush grass. You can see the first couple that have made it across, they're calling back going, "You have to get over here. It's amazing." You can hear them running through the field, calling out to the other ones to come over. Well, my horse, Reba's 4, meaning her name means the Royal 4. Reba's like, that looks like Niagara Falls. I can't cross that. She has seen the rest of her herd cross over, and they're telling her how much grass is over there, but she will not cross.
Right.
This went on for 2 or 3 weeks. She's separated from the herd. So all night you can hear them screaming to each other because Reba won't cross.
Right.
Now she has seen them cross back and forth every day, 2 or 3 times a day. Richard's like, "You're going to have to go and help her. She's your horse." I mean, he said, "I know she's pretty, but geez, you got to go teach her how to be a horse." And it's funny because she was an orphaned horse as well. She was brought up by humans. So she can't actually neigh very good either.
Oh, wow.
She doesn't neigh like the other horses because she's never had to, because she's been brought up by humans.
Right. Interesting.
So I spent nearly, I think it was 2 hours with her doing natural horsemanship over and over to get her to cross. I got her to cross. She crossed over Niagara Falls. And her facial expression and her look at me and my look back at her, because I was in shock she did it, because I was really exhausted by this stage. She's a big horse. She looked at me and went, "I did it." And I went, "Yeah, you're going to do it now 10 or 20 times with me now." So we did it like 10 or 20 times.
Got her used to it. Good.
Took the halter off and let her run. And I could hear her calling the other horses, "I'm here, I'm here, I'm here." And I just went, that's where we're going through right now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's such a great analogy. Thank you so much for sharing that story. Wow.
Because it's a happy horsey story.
Yeah.
But the horses are going through it too. They go through this. All of us go through this. It's just different ways of, because of Reba's journey as a horse was different to all the other horses.
Yeah.
She has a different way of interpreting what she's about to walk across the bridge. And it didn't matter. Even if she saw all the other horses walk on the bridge, she still didn't want to walk on the bridge.
Yeah.
She didn't feel safe yet. So we had to help her understand it. And it's so funny because it was a process. It was a real process to help her be a horse.
Yes.
So
wow.
Where we are all now is we're all remembering that we're all from the stars.
Yeah.
That's where we're at now. We're remembering. And this separation feeling, I got it down to one word: debate. D-E is two, and bait. Now,
Uh,
bait to me, we're fishing family. So, and I'm just not interested in the debate. If you choose to debate me right now, right now, I will go quiet. I'm not in debate mode.
yeah.
I've seriously just, I'm a little tired of debating. I'm not in debate mode anymore. If there's a debate that needs to be done, then that means you need to do something, talk about it, or see something else before we engage, because I don't need to debate.
Right. I agree. I love that. I'm so there too. Like, to the point where some people are like surprised at what they're interpreting in me as being callous almost. And it's not callous. It's my exertion of my energy to you is not going to benefit anyone in this partnership at this time. It's obvious. All that we're going to do is exhaust each other, or at least I'm going to be exhausted by it because it's so out of my resonance to be in this argument debate place. That conflict drama stuff, it's like I'm not there anymore. I'm not upset about it either. I'm just like, different channel, and then I'll just walk away. Like, I'm done. Like, you can do that. I won't stop you. However, not in my space. And so if you're in my home, you're definitely being kicked out for that. It's like, well, thank you for visiting. You can leave now. Like, I can be nice, use nice words, and also mean it, but, and I'm doing the same thing. It's
Yeah.
fascinating. And then there's like the stirring of these individuals. I think what it is that a lot of people are so used to that form of communication. And now all of a sudden it's noticeable that I think many of us at the same time have just been like, done. And there's like almost like an addictive, but I need my fix kind of thing.
Yeah, like grabbing the rope.
Mm-hmm.
So that comes back to your rope analogy. Like
Right.
yeah, wow.
Right.
So the rope keeps slipping through their hand because they're not gripping it properly.
Right.
Once you grip it properly, once you get an understanding of how to hold the rope, then it's okay. You don't need to pull it so hard because you're going to be on it anyway. So
Right.
yeah, I'm not I'm like you. I'm not angry. I just don't want to do. I'm not interested in the
Yeah.
debate.
Yeah.
Because and I was thinking about how a lot of these people that I've met over the last few years, some have like ascended really. I just, those words are so weird, but
I know.
well, they've woken up really quickly. And then I thought, so are the beings laughing at me because it's taken me 25 years to get to this point? And we've got the kids who are coming in and they've got it straight away. And then you got these people that are awakening really fast. It's taken, like, I'm like that turtle walking really slowly.
It's exactly what's supposed to happen. There's people going much more gradually than what you're comparing it to, and that I've met individuals who, have been doing this for several decades. However, feel like they just don't have the access to the things that they should after having put so much time and that happens for a reason. I got to see it. And what it looks like is kind of like a tree where, so as you move in your ascension, when it's a gradual motion, where it's like, this is like the ascension line going up, and when it's really, really gradual, you can barely even see that it's going up along that line. If you look down at it from a vantage point, what's actually happening is that individual is more accessible to others. And so it looks kind of like this, where this is the person ascending, and these are those who they can help along the way and pick up. There's a lot more than what I drew. And that's what it looks like energetically. And the reason for the level of awareness and the way that our awareness happens is for that reason. I had the same thing happen. I pushed pause. I kept saying, I turned off my gifts. That's what I used to say. And It's not suggested because when you unpause, it's not usually done by your choice. It's just like the kettle boils over kind of a thing. And then also, there's a lot that I had to learn how to work with right away. Anyway, because you brought that important topic up, I wanted to address that a lot of people are feeling that way. It's like these people, like a 5-year-old knows what to do. I'm 72 or something, and it's like that doesn't have anything to do with it. Whoever that person is and where you are is what you're meant to do. And the work that we've done in these positions is can only be done by a select few, and so for you to clear the density, that's what we're doing. We think we're ascending and we're doing this thing. We've already ascended, people. We know how to do this. We're coming here to show others how to do it and to clear the energy for these incoming kiddos that are just like on fire. They're amazing. They are fire. They are the light. You feel them. They don't even express sadness. On a very few moments in my kiddo's life has she truly been sad. It's the most bizarre thing, like to the point where I start to almost dig it out of her. It's like, can you communicate everything else to me? Are you sure? Kind of thing, and it's possible for those kiddos to be there because of me, because of all of us, and that's really the goal here, right?
So we are sharing because this is really how we learn. This is the real education. So we share, and we used to do it around campfires. I mean, if I could start a little campfire out with you guys, I would. And you'd come together in the evening and you'd share your stories of the day, and we would share our Ascension symptoms. And then we would all learn. And then we go to the next day. So the next day we've ascended.
Right.
And then the next day, and it's a community, and that's where it's happening now. But this debate, if there's a debate that has to come up, the debate brings up doubt and fear, and just even acknowledging it is a really great stage, because you can go, oh, am I debating this person? What's in it for me? What do I need to learn about myself? Or it's actually a tool. And if from someone who attempts to debate where we're at now, if that triggers something in me, then that again is a tool, a gift. They've given me a gift. So, but a lot of the time, I just love the word debate, because I can see someone fishing with me and I'm going, I'm not going to bite it. I'm not hungry. I don't eat any worms. I'm not biting. I'm not biting.
Right.
I'm just not hungry. I don't need it. So.
I'm with you. Been like that for I used to change the way I worded things to stop a debate. Because honestly, what is a debate? Somebody trying to convince you to, instead of viewing the world in your way, to view it in theirs. That's it. Why? What benefit? Like, how does that benefit anyone in the story? Perhaps if there's a mission or a goal. And what is that mission? Obviously, if you don't know that mission, then it's a manipulation that you don't know about, or there's a lot in there, and what I used to do probably about 20 years ago now, I started to answer back to these individuals with, I can see why you think that. I can see how you think that, or anything like that. I am not agreeing with you, but people who were stuck in debate and just won't stop following you with their debate will often, I don't care what they think, honestly, I really don't. They will often think you agree with them, and then they'll stop. They think that you won them over onto their camp, their army, I don't know, and now we all agree that that's the wrong color for that flavor, it doesn't apply to anything important. And so I don't know, I very much pull away very quickly from anyone trying to create for me. And I'm open to people's opinions to a point, to listen to them because it helps them, not because I plan to change anything about myself, and what's supposed to happen happens. It just does. It doesn't, no matter how much effort we put forward. I'm so happy you brought this up. I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent again.
No, no, no. Well, you said the word opinion. So opinion is pin. So it's a piercing of your ions. Now you're
Right.
open to opinion to a certain point.
Right.
So like that's so cool. It's so true, and that's that so you engage with another, and you hear their frequency, and then you decide whether the spins are in alignment. If the spins are not in alignment, then they shift on usually pretty quickly, or you shift on pretty quickly. Like that's what happens. This forcing the spins together, that's what we're saying, and
Yeah.
that's the separate. That's what I'm feeling at the moment, is that separation,
Right.
and that's okay. And by others hearing us speak now, if they notice it, because it can be with your loved ones, it can be with the family, it could be with the postman, it could be with anyone. If you hear that, you'll know, oh, just to pull back a bit so you don't get sucked into the hole, because it's draining. And
Right.
if you're having pings come out and other ascension symptoms, you might already be feeling a little bit low, and then you have someone opinion. Yeah, it it affects you. So
Yeah.
this if you when you're speaking with another, if you are they, like you said, where is this discussion coming from?
Hmm.
Is it is it like how the Hopi Indians, or the many ancient ones would speak with fair trade? So one would speak and then the other, like they would have the talking stick. Is it a fair conversation, or are they dumping on you?
Right.
Which way? So then you have to work out what this conversation really is about.
Yeah. And why it's there in the first place.
Yeah.
And honestly, we know that inside ourselves. Like if it feels icky, go away from it.
So we come back to the icky. So icky or not icky, that's really the answer of life.
Right. Hold on. Like that if we're not comfortable, what's really funny too is not funny in a ha kind of way, though. It's exactly the way that you would, a person, an energy, whoever would implement conditioning in order to keep a species quiet, asleep, and disempowered, and to teach them that all of these things are character flaws, traits to edit off self, of not being willing to participate in these things. And culturally speaking, at least in the area that I live, many of the people, if you don't give back in this conversation, then it's like incredibly insulting, and like, that's fine. Like, that's not my intention. And so I'm providing my own intention to this. And then, whatever the person gets from it, I don't have any control over that. That's none of my business, and often, this is kind of fun to know, is that often down the road, we'll see that helps somebody, and it gave them that no one ever did that before. No one ever pointed that out to them before, and things like that, and so it gave them a new perspective that perhaps took a little while to move through all the layers of conditioning. I don't know why this has come in my head a couple of times. It's very off topic, but it feels like maybe it might be part of this topic, is that I don't know how long you have today. Do you have a bit longer, or?
Are we up to 2 hours or something already?
No, we've been only on for 57 minutes.
Only.
Well, I'm just saying, if you want to talk longer, can you
Yeah.
talk longer? Okay.
Yeah. It's only
Um,
5 minutes.
Oumuamua. You know what Oumuamua is, right? This is that cigar shaped piece of rock that came in 2017. While I talk, I'll try to find a visual example of it. So there's a whole lot of debate about it, and it's really kind of funny, to be honest, because I think I'm spelling it wrong. It was a rock that came into our atmosphere, and that was understood that it had been from outside of our galaxy and our normal space that we would get different things in like that. So I can't remember exactly. Long story short, this particular thing came in, and it was a thing that I didn't see happen. I found out how to spell it finally. Are you still there? I can't even see you. Okay, good. So this particular thing, it was a big rock, and it was really cool. What was really bizarre about it for me is, here, I'll pull up this. I don't even, it's a video, and so I'm just going to show you the image of it for share screen. This is a picture of the rock. This lady's standing here next to it. But so this thing, it's a Oumuamua interstellar asteroid or comet conversation. That's what they're saying on this. No one's really sure what it is. Okay, so this is kind of a big topic to start up right now. I'm going to tell you that I didn't know about it happening in 2017 when it entered our atmosphere. The way that it moved about, there was speculation, strong understanding about the fact that it was probably manned, because the way that it moved about in our solar system. And after it sped away from the sun and left our atmosphere or our area, people kind of just let it alone and stopped talking about it. Okay, fast forward to 2021 January. I was doing a very in-depth meditation, and I was up in outer space and doing stuff with the planet like I do sometimes in astral. And this massive rock that was exactly like that came into my view. And then I realized actually how incredibly large it was. And I moved toward it, and I knew immediately that it was populated by an entire population of a species inside. Like, this is a ship. This is a spaceship full of who is left. These particular beings I'd never interacted with before. They felt very gruff and indifferent to me, and didn't really, they weren't there to cause harm. They were coming to be an audience, and that's what I was being shown, is that they were the first to come to witness what we're doing right now energetically for the whole cosmos. And I'm not sure why I'm telling you this story right now. It won't stop coming out of my head while you've been talking. And so there's my little thing.
So as you're talking, I had two electric things come out here because I haven't had them for a few days. I don't get them all the time. And I had it once, and I went, oh, wow, that's dovetailing. And then it did it twice on the same spot. And then you said, as it happened, you said, I don't know. And I was like, no, she does know. So this is what happened. When I was in that 10 years and back, or whatever that experience was,
Yeah.
they showed us that it's a near miss. They also showed me that where we are is on like a gateway or the end of the freeway where all the traffic goes through.
Yeah.
And there's a gathering. And
Right.
Kiddo spoke about more coming.
Yeah.
Come ETs, more coming. And like there's a gathering there. It's a real show. And I talk about this a lot. I say, it's a show, it's a show. There's something, because like the slit theory that we talked about before, how they perceive the show, how we perceive the show,
Right.
how the debaters perceive the show,
Right.
how the kiddos perceive the show, how animals and the trees perceive it's all that slit theory. So it's all intelligence. So there's something about watching, sharing, and then all evolving together. So wow, so like a whole civilization
Yeah.
on this rock. I
Yeah.
mean,
A whole.
that's what a comet is. That's what a comet is.
Right.
Bacteria and plasma landing somewhere or colliding with something, and then that creates the hydrogen and the bacteria, then the fungi, then the
Hmm.
that's how things evolve. This is what creation is. So
Yeah,
now you're communicating with them in a you're acknowledging them.
right.
So imagine them. Okay, so this is why, because this is why I say we talk with the kids. So imagine them up there. They'll say, "Did she just say our name?
Yeah.
She's talking about us. There's one down there.
Right.
She sees us. She sees us," and they're all cheering. Can you see them all cheering like a football,
Right.
like
And
a
they're,
football match? And the audience is like, "Yay! She sees us." So
yeah.
it's you got to remember it's been pretty thick, whatever, to get through
Yeah.
for a long
Yeah.
time.
For a long, long time on purpose too.
Yeah. Sorry, I've got lots of dinging going on here. I'll see if I can turn it off.
I haven't heard anything. It's fine.
Oh, good. Okay.
It really hasn't
I,
affected me in
I
any way.
I try not to touch anything when
Now
I'm
life
like,
happens. I mean, I have a kiddo and I end up with like noise and stuff that people just this is my life. And
yeah.
this is your life. And so whatever noises happen or don't happen, you're good. I'm happy that you're with us,
Yeah.
and there's one more part of that story is that
Oh, sorry, I
no,
interrupted.
it's okay. Yeah, it's really a thing that's happening. It's crazy and awesome and just mind blowing in some ways is that I had this really intense experience, beautifully intense experience. And like being like, I was about when I'm an astro, I'm more like 17 feet tall. I'm not the height that I am now, though. And so I'm taller, though this thing was so huge. I could sense the weight of it. It was so big. Anyway, so fast forward till the beginning of this year, like January or February or somewhere. I don't remember exactly. Um, I had never heard of this thing except for what I saw. And I went back there a few different times and interacted with this spaceship and these beings in the spaceship. They're very much like Vulcans, not like Spock. Spock was half human. He had half of a heart, like so from Star Trek. Um, anyway, then all of a sudden, old documentation videos about this space mass started to come up in my feed, started to show up in like new news and all this stuff. And I was like that was such a strange shape. There's no way to replicate that on accident. And all of a sudden, everyone's talking about it now. It's become like a hot topic, and like NASA straight up said, this could have been a spaceship. I know that they're trying to reverse their statement about that now, from what I had heard, but they, at least for a moment, were like, hey, this very much could be the way that it moved. Like it wasn't interfered with by our gravity. It got really close to the sun and said, that's enough for me. And then zoop, gone. And like, that's all anyone saw back in 2017.
Wow. So, do you, do you still visit them now, like right now, or?
I've connected with them once more since I heard that the claim of that they had left. I was like, they're still there. They're still there. Like, I don't know why people think that they're gone. So yeah, I don't particularly love hanging out with them only because yeah, they're not a heart-based of culture speech. They don't they're there for they're not they're service to others in the way that they're not there to hurt anybody. And that, but it just seems like their indifference is, and they're full on thinkers. Like it's like very logical, and that just rubs me weird. Like I I'm not. I don't do very well spending much of my time in around those who are thinkers. That's just, I like that thinker way. I can't spend 5-6 hours a day with that. I just can't do it because I'm so emotional based. I'm so heart centered, and so that's the only reason of my hesitancy.
But what's great about this story is that you didn't know,
Yeah.
about it, but
Yeah.
it happened, right? So it's happened to you more than once. So it's no coinky dink. And then you see it in the media
Yeah.
as well. So now you're getting um, real time communication or confirmation, and then they go, "Oh, actually, we've changed our mind because we don't want you to all say that now. So
Right.
we'll give it a smear campaign and say it wasn't what it was."
Right.
Um, but they're so excited when they first find it, and then they go, "Oh no, that wasn't that, it wasn't that." So to me, that's like the third confirmation by
Right.
us here on Earth. But what's also interesting is that they're not. Um, you're not wanting to hang out with them, like they're not your best friends, or
Yeah.
it's okay, you don't have to, you
Right.
just need, it's just an acknowledgement. And that's what I love when we hear people, when an ET comes to me, I want them to be like, and I'm like, I don't think you get a choice sometimes, because it's not about that, it's more about the alignment. So where
Yeah.
you're at and where they're at the moment, and the alignment is just for that space, and then it moves on,
Yeah.
or it stays with you, whatever works. But it's funny because this gives an example to others of just being allowing.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you have to take it all on board, literally on your ship.
Right.
That's their ship, that's my ship. Hi.
Right.
Bye.
Let me know if you need a cup of flour, but leave me alone
Yeah.
otherwise, you know?
I'll see you next time, maybe. Enjoy the show.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's a great story.
Yeah.
See, this is another camp story. So you go, and then and others say, "Well, I felt funny. I had one come into my bedroom and it made me feel funny." Or I had one when I was out walking at night and it made me feel funny. That's okay, because they're different.
Yeah.
It does feel different, does feel funny, because it's not the normal for us. But then
Right.
you adjust and you get used to that, and then it doesn't feel as funny anymore. It's just them.
Right. Right.
So like you're like, it's just the moo or
Yeah.
however you said that. It's just them.
Amua, amua.
Yeah, it's just them. It's
And
okay.
And the thing is that something that happened in the past when I was experiencing it, or did they come back? I don't know which, because they had been documented. This had been documented to have happened in 2017. 2017, I didn't have access to media of any kind. That was part of my blackout. I did it on purpose. We didn't watch TV. We had a DVD player that we watched a movie every couple of days, and that was it. So I had no idea this had happened. And then I had done the meditation in 2021, and so, and then I saw them as if they were just coming into our area. And then, so I don't know, my question, I always thought, once I saw it again, I thought to myself, well, perhaps when I was in meditation in astral, time doesn't exactly exist. So therefore you can touch anytime you want. Perhaps in the moment it was happening at that moment. However, it was actually happening what was considered in the past. Or did they come back? Right? I think they
Yeah.
came
So,
back.
or are you going to collection points? So,
Right.
because you collapsed time in your space, and you've got your head around it, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
It could be a million years later. And
It's
so
now.
I woke up this morning at 1 o'clock, 1:01. I came out to see what the time was, and I had to write down my Pamela list, because they told me to get up and write down my Pamela list. So I'll go through my list just
Please do.
quickly with you, because you might be able to help with the symptoms for for others.
Yeah.
But they said, does Pamela know her name? And I said, of course Pamela knows her name. It's Pamela. No. Pamela. They kept saying Pamela to me. So we've just had Palm Sunday, and I did a lot of research on Palm. And Palm is your soul. So we've got soul, So Pam, Palm, Pamela. So a lot of the things are similar, okay, when they speak with me. So Pamela, Palm, Palm. So we have soul. And then they show me my Greek, Egyptian grandmother, Yaya. And she had her arms out to me and she's saying, Ella, Ella, Ella. And Ella means, come here, I want to give you a hug. Come here, Ella, Ella, Ella. And so now I have soul, come here. So Pamela means the souls are coming here. And I was like, oh, that's
fun.
so sweet.
Oh, wow.
And whether that means that for you, but when I heard those words, I went, oh, I just resonated with that. So I had to share that with you because I just felt that was it's really beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Seeing my my grandmother who's not with us, she was, and she just wanted to give me a hug in this when she was saying your name. So I just thought I'll share that with Pamela. It's such a it's interesting, all these things that are around us, all these signs, and take notice of the pings.
Yeah.
Which then brings me to all these ascension symptoms. So the biggest one is the fever. And I know a lot of people freak out with fever.
Right.
Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about fever, and he actually uses this as a tool to go into deep meditation, deep healing. Right. And I love that because I have had that happen a lot. Gemma brought up, she said, Mum, you've got a lot of these white spots on your back, like like fungus spots on your back. And I said, oh, are you sure it's not from peeling? And she said, no, these are the marks, the fungus marks. And then she said, lots of people in Byron have this as well. And she said, Gemma worked this out for me. She said, this is from the night sweats. And the night sweats that I have, so people sometimes would put it down as being menopause. Right. It's not, because little kids are getting it too, the night and sweats. And men. And so what's happening is your body is getting rid of the poisons out of it. Yep. The poisons are coming out, they're sweating, which is creating the fungus because your clothes are wet. Because I'll take off a T-shirt and I'm soaking wet at night. Yeah. So that was one of the symptoms I wanted to bring up, which I couldn't work out what the fungus was, but then Gemma related the two for me, and I just went, of course that's what it is. Thank you, Gemma. Yeah. But so then you realize you don't need to go and get that medication. Right. Yeah. So exactly. So now we're collapsing the system. This is how we collapse the system. So again, sharing the stories. You don't need medication. You don't need therapy. It's just what this is. This is what it is. I'm getting it. Elderly are getting it, and little kids are getting it, and men are getting it. So it's all across. Everybody. Yep. Yeah. I'm having that too. I'm agreeing. I'll let you go on your list with validating. I got my Pamela list. Hang on, I might need the glass. But it was a big one because it's like leaves a mark on you for a while. Yep. These marks don't go away quickly either. They're there for a while. So some people have compared them to acne. Only the difference is that what comes from it is more fleshy rather than a mucus like you'd expect from zits or acne. I'm just letting you know, a lot of people are talking about it. They're having it too, and I'm having the night sweats, and as well as the weird spots too. Yeah. As some of it people are getting as more like a rash, like it looks kind of like eczema, sort of. Yes. Yeah, this is what Gemma said. In Byron, in the city areas, it comes up more like eczema. So it's the redness behind it, then the white spots, whereas I'm just getting the white spots. I've got it on my front area, on my torso, and on my back. But Gemma said some of her friends have it on the back of their arms or the back of their legs. So yeah, legs are really common, thighs. Yeah. And just
The one that people have been talking about a lot lately is on the stomach, and that area,
Yeah.
the sacral chakra specifically, the orange chakra is having a lot of stuff happening for every
Wow.
generation.
So then I had the burns come up on my face,
Mhm.
which a lot of people I've heard have said this.
Yeah.
And Richard said, all right, let's break this down. I love Richard. So he goes, let's break this down. What am I eating that you're not eating? Because I don't have the burns. And I said, that's so true. You don't have the burns. What are you eating that I'm not eating? He's eating fish. I'm not.
Mm.
I said, oh, this could be iodine. It's funny because we ran out of seaweed meal that we feed to the horses. So for a few months, we haven't had seaweed meal because it's actually quite expensive to buy.
Right.
Seaweed meal is just seaweed grounded up.
Right.
That's it. So it's iodine again, right?
Mhm.
So I said, we haven't been giving this to our horses, and 2 or 3 of our horses are quite run down as well.
Mhm.
So after the conversation with Richard, I went and upped a liquid dose of iodine. And then we took out mouth syringes for the horses,
Mhm.
and we gave them 3 shots in one day of just upped with seaweed, with the iodine.
Right.
The horses and my burns went that day,
Wow.
that night. By that night, the inflammation had completely reduced. I was like, wow, how quick that was,
Wow.
just to work out through Richard and I sharing conversation.
Right. Yeah. Nice work.
Yeah. So I just wanted to, because I understand all the vitamin C and everything, but
Iodine.
this, yeah. And we were out at the beach, and we've noticed at the beach there's that extra green on the sand. So when it gets to this point and it looks like plastic, Jeannie said, "Watch this, Mum," and she flicked the salt water on the green, and the salt water disintegrated, like it looked like peroxide on it or something. It made
Wow.
huge holes in the green, and I thought that was really interesting as well. So there's
Right.
definitely something: sea salt,
Right.
iodine. Even if you, I said to Jem, if she's out and about, just buying the seaweed wraps, for sushi, just buy one and eat just
Yeah.
the seaweed wrap. Just get it into you, because let me tell you, in Fukushima, the first thing they sold out of was iodine
Uh,
for poisoning.
Interesting. Right.
Yeah, yeah, it's iodine. So if that helps anyone, it made a big difference to me. It meant
Thank
that I
you.
didn't have this big burn on my face.
Yeah. That is, by the way, a really common thing right now. I just actually met with somebody recently, a couple day or so ago, who I couldn't see it on her, though she was trying to show me that her lips were burned. She didn't know how, like that her lips were just, she felt like they were burned.
Wow.
And I want to make just a quick, we're not talking about iodinized table salt. That is not the kind of iodine that we're talking about. So I don't know what it's like over in Australia, though. In the States, they have this table salt that they call it iodinized salt, and it's really not something that I ever ingest. So that's a separate thing. There's medical grade iodine is what they kind of call it in the States that you can get, but I can get it from a holistic company where they sell, like, where I get my sage, is also just, I know them, they're a local place, and so it just depends on what you have available in your area. And by the way, I've been being given encouragement for a week now to tell people to up the salt in their diets, to eat more salt. And I'm not sure, I wasn't really sure why. I just knew I was supposed to. And then also noticing myself following that guidance, feeling more in sync and harmony and less distress. There's something about salt and water and plasma that they work together in some kind of harmonious partnership. And we're getting more plasma right now. These past few days has increased. And as that increases, then there needs to be some type of method of travel with ease and lack of discomfort. You know what I mean? And so
Balancing out. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and at the same time, we have all these little teeny tiny microscopic crystals all in our body and our food and this pen, everything. And so, and these crystals are moving, shifting so they can collect more light and send more light into our body. And that would also require more salt and more water, because now we're trying to contain more light. Light, plasma are the same thing, basically. It's just different choice in wording.
Yeah.
And so that makes a lot of sense that you brought that up. And the salt and the that is in the iodine, and that often the salt that I use is like, I use sea salt, and so it's got the content of iodine naturally in it already, and really
There's
interesting.
something though in the dark greenness
Yeah,
of the seaweed. So if you aren't getting it from your good sea salt, because I was having good sea salt, I'm just saying maybe in
right,
your area you might need to up it even further. And
right.
just seeing, these one of the horses we were sitting with out in the paddock. So you don't want your horse to go down for too long. So I would go out and we were sitting with him in the paddock, and you can. I said I can feel him. I can feel him run down. I can feel him. But as soon as we gave him the iodine, the seaweed, he felt happier.
Yeah,
And all the what was interesting is because when the animals are ill, all the other animals go away. They watch and protect, so they'll stay on like a boundary area to protect if anything comes in and harms them while they're down. But they stay away, like they give them space to heal. And as soon as we had given him the iodine, we're not even talking an hour. All the other horses are just hanging out with him again.
wow.
And it's like not only did he know, and
They
all of
did too.
us, all the herd knew as well. So I'm
Right,
sharing another horsey story because it's not just us.
right,
It's everything going through this. So
right. I
that's why
appreciate that too. Thank you.
this ascension symptoms that you provide for your audience, Pamela, is it will become vital for a lot of people. It's you can't even place a price on it because it's invaluable
Hmm.
information, because you don't actually this actually could go on to actually save lives. So I'm not saying that we're practitioners, but
Right.
we do practice. We practice what we preach.
We do.
Yeah. And it works for us, so it's got to work for somebody else. So
With a lot of trial and error, allowing
yeah.
yourself be okay with that, like that's the
Yeah.
best advice I have, is that honestly, the best advice that I have above all things is to listen to your body. Your body's the first antenna, and so your body's telling you. And so like doing what Elsa had described just now, of figuring out the causation of what her body was telling her, then when she was able to change and to introduce things that her body was asking for. And that was why those symptoms were happening. And so our body asks, all the time. And listening to your body when it comes to, for instance, a lot of people out of the blue, having never ever had food allergy, all of the sudden globally it's like become a big thing. Like half of the population have severe enough food allergy that they have to cut things from their diet, from their daily ingestion of food. I don't know a different word to say other than diet. Elsa told me, pointed out diet one time to me, and I haven't found a replacement word yet.
Well, it's just again that was what Neff showed us, is that a spiritual practice is literally what you do from your day to day, from when you rise to when you rest.
Right.
And so through your day, what are you practicing?
Yeah.
And if that food doesn't serve you anymore, that means you've ascended or
Yeah.
you've changed. So it's
Congratulations.
a good thing. It's like,
Yeah.
yay. Don't think of it as a bad thing, even though it might be sad not to eat potatoes anymore. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay, because you'll find that your taste will change to something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the way. And then honestly, I'm that person that occasionally will get like that. I think I'm going to try that food again. It had been however long, and for one reason or another, it was brought into my life. The people that I live around, the neighbors here, are just really kind and generous. So they bring us things that we just don't eat. And occasionally I'll be like, oh, I'll try that. And not only did my body not like it, but it doesn't taste. Why did I like that so much? It doesn't taste good. Like Twizzlers, like the licorice was someone gave me a bag of that. I was like, this was the favorite flavor of mine when I was like, a teenager or whatever. And I was really excited about it. And it was really disgusting. And it wasn't that it wasn't fresh. It was just, there's so many, I don't eat processed food any longer. So there's so many of these preservatives and artificial this and artificial that my body just not in sync with anymore. So I literally spit it out. It was just unpleasant. And, and at the same time, sometimes you'll go back to something and then you're like, oh, my body's okay with that now. Like for a while, my body did not like spinach. I don't know what it was about spinach, but my body just did not like it. And now I like it. My body likes it again. Same with beets and I think it just, whatever's happening in our experience at that time. I can tell you I've consistently not been in a place where meat and my body get along. Eating meat just doesn't work for me. Like I've slowly edited each different kind of meat out of my daily food. And it's becoming noticeable that a lot of other people are having it. I was talking to the doctors of the people down the road. And it's really crazy. These individuals, these doctors are beside themselves, not understanding that all of a sudden, all of these people are presenting with what they're calling meat allergy, an allergy to meat. All of these people, and the conversation is, are they suddenly putting something new into the meat that's causing people to have this kind of reaction? For me, that was the first thing I noticed happen different to my daily food. Was first it was red meat that my body didn't like, and then I took out other meats. Chicken was the last to go, and my body just doesn't work with it. It just doesn't. And we had about a year ago, a lot of us all of a sudden felt cravings for meat, a desire to eat meat, and all of us detoxed. What it was our body so didn't like the meat that it went out very, very fast, and it cleared. It was dense enough that it cleared out our body. So if you get a craving, if you're being asked to eat something that you may not think, perhaps it's your body saying, I want something that's so awful that I can get rid of it really fast and get rid of the rest of the stuff that's not good for me either. Maybe.
Yeah, that's okay. So then it comes back to the allowing of the divine, of the Pamela and the Elsa, and you're going, my body knows what to do. So if I'm going to be cheeky and eat potato again, obviously they want me up all night. So I've got obviously something to do up. So now I'm putting it down as a spiritual practice sort of thing, It's funny.
It really,
you got to laugh at it. You do. You just have to.
It's funny and also true. Like these things really happen. It's a real thing. Ascension Explorer just mentioned something that reminded me of another point about salt, by the way, and iodine, is that I usually use Himalayan salt inside my bathtub. Like I put it in my bath to take a bath. And also Epsom salt's really common. Usually it's the Epsom salt, Himalayan salt. Epsom salt is like this, and like perhaps that's also, she mentioned that perhaps that's the reason that there hasn't been a lot of rashes and stuff. And I would say so, and like just whatever it is that's correct for you, whatever you're craving, that's what your body's needing, and everyone's different depending on where you are on the planet. And there's one more point to be made about this before I let you finish your list. I'm sorry, I keep taking away. Is that your biosphere, whatever is grown, exists and cultivates in your local area, it does so knowing what your body is going to need, because that's what's the needed element or vitamin or whatever it is for the area. And so that's why your food in the back of in your garden or from the farmer's market, from the local farm, tastes so much better. It's not simply that the others have likely been, whatever's done to them. It's that we're ingesting the food that is grown for us specifically. And so you'll find where, depending on where you are on the planet, that some of your needs will be different than mine and Elsa's, and that there are minerals and different things that your body needs more than maybe I do, depending on where you live. If you live closer to the ocean, you're not going to have as much salt and that kind of thing, because it's going to be in your daily life. Whereas when you live inland and it's just fresh water, then you're not going to have as much access to those types of things. So it all depends, and so
It's
you have
so
more to
true.
say too.
It's so true. Like it depends on, and because you and I are in different seasons, completely
Right.
opposite,
We're
upside
just
down.
getting to be green right now.
Yeah. So, but this these symptoms though are not seasonal.
Yeah.
These symptoms now are happening globally. So
Yeah.
you go, okay, we get it, we understand it, we don't agree with it, but we know how to heal.
Yeah.
So what the kids always say, so mum, so we're healing through all these things that are going on in our environment. So when they stop doing it, we're going to feel so amazing. And I said, well, you already are feeling amazing. You notice your health when you walk down the street compared to others.
Right.
So other people will see you as inspiration because they'll say, I want my kids to look healthy like you guys. So you'll inspire because of you. I always remember them saying there'll be these super beings come through. And
Right.
I never thought of it in a hero sense, but I know I'm understanding what it is now. It's that uh, we're maneuvering through this with power and potency of our ions because we're in balance. So we can walk through and be an example of, well, you can be weak if you choose, or you can walk like us because we're the same.
Right.
We're just taking a little bit more iodine and a little bit more salt.
Right.
It can be that simple.
Increase the water content of your diet,
Yeah.
introducing juice. Honestly, the sacral chakra stuff, orange juice, I'm better. Like that's
Okay.
it. That's all I did different, and like I'm very aware of the color therapy, that when you're having a chakra that's feeling out of alignment or having something going on, even if you just notice it in your body, it's 234. I see that number all the time, all the time. 1 2 3 4 or 2 3 4 all the time. Anyway, when you notice the area of your body and what color that chakra is that's near to that area, and introduce that color into your experience, it changes your experience. It's the most amazing thing. And so like the sacral chakra is orange, right? And so I got like some orange things that, are around, and like all of a sudden I'm not having any of that. People are still talking about it. The sacral chakra really struggling, and I'm not, and I'm drinking a glass the size of a glass every day of this. And that's all I'm doing different.
Wow, I have never thought of that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing also because when you hold it up, it looks like gold.
Yeah.
And that's been a big thing about the 7 is the golden. I mean, yeah, it looks it's a gold, the golden ratio.
Mm,
So so you by you drinking the gold orange juice, so you're tapping into that for this phase we're in at the moment.
right.
Wow, that's really cool, Pamela. I love that. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Eat the colors of your chakra.
Yeah. It helps. And not only that, you can do like the colors that you wear on your body or around you in some other way too, like a bracelet or a hairband. Like you can just put them on your wrist, whatever color it is that you need to kind of have more in your experience and helping you with that. It's kind of been a little bit of a game that I've done for a few years. I typically always have hairbands on my wrist, and um, I don't note it. We have every color of the rainbow here, having a little girl, and they're just everywhere. And so when I clean, they go on my wrist, and it's fun. I'll look down and I'll see it's always important. in the order that they're in and the colors that they are, it's like, oh yeah, I can totally see that. And I needed that. I needed more violet today. I needed more blue today. And so I got extra of those colors or whatever it is, and it really does help. And so same is true. Like I was talking to somebody else, he found this immersible speaker that can go in the water and not be interfered with. And it also changes color, and it'll make the water glow a color. And the speaker, he'll have chakra clearings playing on it. And so, and then he'll time it where the color changes as it moves into the next chakra. So the water becomes red as he's doing his root. The water becomes orange as he's doing his sacral, and so on and so forth. And that kind of healing, I actually want to figure out how to get one of those. That sounds amazing. That would be so immediate and so profound and powerful with intention, by embracing your power, by embracing your ability. And you know what? Like, what did you lose if it didn't work? So far, every time it's worked for me. And it's not sugar pill, kind of thing. It's really something happens in me, and a true alteration in mind and body. And so, yeah, trying that. And then I was thinking about that with heart today, because all of a sudden today I went outside and it feels like, because before all the trees just had teeny tiny buds on them, so you couldn't actually see any leaves yet. Overnight, now you can see the color of green. It's not very pronounced, but it's everywhere. And I thought, and now we enter the season of the heart. And it was just, that's where heart chakra, the emerald green, and seeing all of that is going to be so healing. And I thought about you, people who are leaving the season of summer, and encouraging you to like bring a plant into your home or whatever, and to allow that green to continue to be in your experience. It'll help you to continue to heal. Healing is also green. The heart is green. That's where healing is. And the green is migrating down to the lower chakral regions right now, because that's where healing is needed, for the solar plexus and the sacral chakra specifically.
So,
Long tangent.
so now you become walking rainbows.
Right. Yeah.
So then it becomes back to how I say we're all arcs, two arcs joined together. So we're spheres, really, stars. But now I've never thought of the whole chakra thing in the food. So I'm gonna say this to the kids, because I'm gonna check everything we're eating now. I mean, I know we eat a lot of diverse colors, but it's predominantly green.
Mm.
So, and it was funny because the iodine is one of the darkest green plants you can get. Like it's dark. Just saying this, I have been at the beach. This was a few years back, and I thought, well, seaweed, I'm just gonna see if I can eat it off the rock.
Yum.
I wasn't such a good wasn't good outcome. I kind of
No.
Yeah. It kind of hit my insides and then came back up real quick. But I don't know why. I obviously have to do my seaweed research, but just putting it out there. I did try that once.
It's worth a try. Yeah, and thank you for telling me.
I tried 2 different ones and had both the same effects. I must be doing something wrong, or I'm definitely not ready for this.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and there's going to be more access to all of this stuff, in the next generational space, when we're still going to be here. We're going to continue into the next generation. That'll be interesting to be like, I think we'll become archaic and not so useful, but mostly like someone that individuals, they're like, well, thank you for helping us and bringing us here. Like, I don't know. I'm excited about actually being demoted from teacher, to be honest. Like, I hope that happens. And I can be like, I'm so student. And that when everyone looks at me like a teacher, and I'm still learning. There's so much to understand. There's so much and then the more that we learn and the more that we realize we know, the more questions we have, and the more that I know, the more that I realize I don't, and all of us are on this journey together and bumping into each other along the way and along our spin, and as we do bump into each other, it's so cool because the way I see the spin is we impart the color of the predominant color of themselves on it. So like, it looks kind of like perhaps your sphere is infected by green at that time, so the place that is touched on the other sphere, on the other spin, is then colored by that green, and it swells over the sphere until it makes use for what it's needed for. And then it moves on to the next thing. Like, that's how I see it. And when we impart color on people in public, where a lot of individuals are deeply in slumber or fighting to stay not in their awakening experience, that the color will prism and it becomes every color. And that shows you the people that need more of it, and it's kind of cool. It's not meant for segregation and separation. It's those who need it will be given it, whatever that is.
So you're so cute, because the other thing that is a big joke in the family, besides saying the A word, which is my middle name, which I'm not going to say, is, oh yeah, buy mum a new outfit. Guess what color it's going to be? It'll be really different. And it's only when I was blonde, I used to wear colors. And then, 10 days after Jet's birth, Richard colored my hair and I went black. And then everything in our home went black and white. All the furniture went black and white. Some of the pets went black and white. And I only wore black. And the kids said, Mum, are you going to ever go back to colors? And I said, look, who knows what is next? I'm open to whatever's next, but it's always interesting. They always say, it's really annoying in my cupboard because you can't see anything because it's all black. You have to go on the porch because it's so black.
Funny.
But I didn't mean to buy black, and I didn't choose this hair color. So it'll be interesting to see, because I see people wearing colors, and the kids say, "Can we put colors in the house?" I'm like, "No, not yet, not yet." But we do have green plants. Like you said, we have the heart, and I love that you said the green's the heart. You reminded me that green's the heart, and it's the healer.
Yeah, it is.
Very cool.
That's the place where you feel the embrace, the hug, the love, the companionship, the being seen and loved anyway, fully for who you are. That's where that comes from. And that's where we all resonate the most, is in the heart. We came here as a heart love species from the stars, and we came to a density where people tend to typically communicate through fear. And we're trying to teach them how not to have to do that. And perhaps not even with intention, in the consciousness that you're in and your awareness at this very moment as yourself, you may not realize what you're doing. It's simply becoming intolerant of anything else, though. Just no longer going to do the fear stuff. Y'all want to do that, go do it over there, stand over there and be that, and
you can debate it out as much as you want.
Right.
Look, there's a whole group of you. Go debate.
Right.
They want to debate.
They're into it. And then I'll send love as a barrier. Like, I'm not doing it for them. Not really. Like, I mean, I know that it's going to help them, but my original intention is, ew, I got to get that off of me. Let's send it love. And when we send it love, it transmutes it and heals it for everybody. And then all of a sudden the debaters are like, why are we debating? Kind of thing. And so it works all the way across.
You're allowing them to spin. So you're allowing them to spin, work it out in their soul way, not my soul way or your soul way.
Right.
But I love that the green heart is, so they always say, go whenever you're having like a meltdown or anything, go walk in nature, go look at a plant. Yeah. So thank you for reminding me that it's a heart.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you for working out or letting me share these symptoms, because I'm so glad that you've just heard them all before.
Yeah, usually that's the case. In fact, I'm making a video tonight that should be posted by tomorrow of the huge list of new Ascension symptoms that I've been collecting. So that'll come out tomorrow for anybody who's interested.
Yeah.
There's a bunch going on, really weird and random, and they're easy enough to excuse or dismiss away, not knowing what they are, until you hear how many people had the same thing at the same time. And it's like, okay, well, that doesn't happen. You can't make that up. I mean, it is obviously a collective experience that we're all having. And there's also an announcement I'd like to make before I forget. We're having a group Zoom meeting that's free. That starts in an hour and 14 minutes from now. So any of you who are interested in joining that, you can find the link for that in my community section here on this YouTube channel. I have not linked Elsa's name and channel to this conversation yet, though I will do that immediately after this is over. So that way, I don't know how to set up. For some reason, I don't have the button. Everyone else is like, this is how you do it. And I go there and I don't have the button. And it says, you click right live stream when you start your video chat. And it's like, so I wasn't able to prepare it ahead of time. Anyway, I'll have that available so you guys can find Elsa on her channel. She has some awesome content. It's amazing having 10 kids?
Yeah, that's what Richard and I do. We go, how many was it? It's 6, 8? What does it know? It's 8.
8 kids. There's 10 of
8
you,
kids.
family of 10. That's what I keep.
Yeah, I know, but it's funny because you go 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I totally get it. My family, I'm fourth from the oldest of 10 kids. And yeah. It was a parlor trick to say everyone in my family's name very quickly because there's so many of us. It's just a thing.
So you would go through and say then, because that's what our kids do. There's a race who can say it the fastest.
Yeah.
So when we meet people and you can see the person's confusion saying, what did they just say? And they'll go through the names really fast. And it's a competition in the family. Who can say it? I can't do it. They do it. You did the same thing.
We did the same thing. That's funny.
So cute.
And of all of those 8 kids and the 2 parents in this family, they're all experiencers in some way. I find that very beautiful. And I just love you, Elsa. And the stuff that you bring to the table in this energetic sharing, like we are almost 2 hours in. I took you for a lot longer than I told you I would. I appreciate your commitment to sharing this light and to thank you for making yourself available. I hope that you do this with me again sometime.
Yeah. No, I enjoy sharing with you, Pamela. I feel that it just feels true. It just feels like it's the original seed or the original messages just being shared openly in a safe space.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you. I'm very happy that that's what comes. That's the intention.
Yeah. And I do love that the electrics and now the water and the electrics are going crazy in your apartment.
What's next? The wind or the soil, right? I mean,
oh yeah, you got to have all the elements.
Right. Yep. Got to have balance. There's wind. It'll probably be wind. Probably. Well, I love you. Thank you all for joining. I really appreciate you all coming today. At one point we got up to over 40 people viewing at the same time. So that was really cool. I love you all and see you soon. Thank you, Elsa.